Okay, I think we're live everywhere. All right, hello everybody, and thanks for joining us. I am HP Holo, and he is Jacob Holo, and these days, when our powers combine, we become two halves of Edie Skye, which is a new development. So today,
which we're here to talk about.
We are here to talk about the Dazzle. What are you doing? I have attempted to let Dazzle into the room today, and so we're going to see how long that lasts, because presently he is trying to do a book inspection right next to me, which usually ends in him trying to eat the book. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, welcome everybody. And today we are going to be talking about a book that comes out next week, which is Blood Knight. You know, I should probably reverse my screen. Give me a second to do that. One moment. I know it's in here somewhere. Video. Mirror camera. Does that look, wait.
It's gone.
It's gone. Okay. Is it the right way on your screen now?
It is.
Okay, so Blood Knight Vampire Slayer, the next Edie Skye series. And so, I guess let's kick it off pretty straightforward. Jacob, give us a summary of this new book.
All right, so it is.
It's primarily yours.
Urban fantasy, and it is. It's not young adult. It is. It's very much adult. It is a harem series.
Yeah, because you've written young adult fantasy before. Yeah, as you can probably tell from the cover, there is no young adultness about this.
You know, I'm pretty sure you can like share your screen and like show a legit version.
You know, you're right.
That way.
I was distracted before this. I was like talking about all the booty in Bridgerton like 5 minutes before this, so I'm actually kind of late getting started.
All right. Well, so
while you talk, I will work on that.
So, Blood Knight, our main character, Clark, is a college student, goes to Chester Creek University, and he basically has a magical hex removed, and is then, after this hex is removed, he is able to perceive the occult and supernatural around him, which there is a lot. And so what he discovers is that the world is secretly controlled by vampires. And there are a lot of demi-human races that are also, to greater or lesser extents, underneath the vampiric thumb. And he also discovers that he is a blood knight. He is a descendant from a very powerful and nearly extinct line of vampire slayers. And he decides to take up the calling of his blood, so to speak. And he has companions, because this, of course, is a harem series. And he and the harem that forms, basically they become a group called Broken Fang, and their mission is to free the world from the vampires who secretly control it. This is a heavy lift for these characters, because they are 5 college students.
They got ambition, though.
They do not lack for ambition.
Yes.
But
we got people in the chat. Hey, Joe. Joe is one of our patrons, and we love our patrons. We love all our readers, but we especially love all the people who love us enough to give us extra money. So, it's Melanie. Hey, Melanie. I know Melanie too. We've already got a fun crowd tonight.
So yeah, the series will be 5 books, and it will escalate quite a bit toward the end. Book 1 is very much a discovering the world, bringing the team together, experiencing their the first victory against the vampires. But yeah, that and actually, yeah, books 2 and 3 are already written.
Yep.
And I'll be actually probably pretty soon starting on the detailed outlining for books 4 and 5.
Yeah. All right, I think I have all of my stuff set up. So let me do oh, hey, Benjamin. I love you too. I love everybody tonight. I'm very happy tonight. I had a really good writing week after having a really bad writing week. So I am just on all the clouds tonight. So, okay. So now that I actually have stuff prepared, let me show you guys an actual good view of the cover. And then we will get to our usual stuff. Why is it not allowing me to? Oh my gosh, why is it not allowing me to show my screen? Good Lord. Okay, hold it. We'll figure this out. I got so many windows open.
You still there?
Here's cover 2.
I think
I'll figure it out while you're talking again. So anyway,
well, I think you're whatever you've got going on in the background is sucking up your CPU.
Yeah, I usually close out all my windows before I start, but I was busy beforehand. I didn't prepare nearly as well as I usually do for these things.
All
So
right.
anyway, while I'm figuring stuff out, our usual things, if you look in the comments, you guys will see all sorts of links I just posted. So we are giving away a signed copy of Blood Knight Vampire Slayer. So if you want to enter to win that, click that link, fill out that form. It's also, if you're watching on Twitter where comments are weird, just go to, excuse me, either the Edie Skye or the Holo writing YouTube or Facebook pages, and you'll find the link there as well. Also, we've got a little mini contest going on in there. One of my readers pointed out that there are some editions of Titan Mage Apocalypse that are actually missing a chapter. And so, but I also know that sometimes when I say I'm going to throw out books, some of you guys are like, no, we want the weird editions. So if you are one of those odd readers who wants the version of Titan Mage Apocalypse that is missing a spicy chapter, click that and I will send it to you, because I've got like 7 of them because I ordered a big batch. And
is it a spicy chapter that's missing?
Yeah, it's like the post-battle orgy that's missing. So it's like, oh my gosh, I nearly had a panic attack when one of my readers pointed that out. And it's fixed now, so everything if you buy it now, it's fine. Yeah, Froeby says collector's edition.
Collector's edition, exactly, Froeby.
It's like the Sunburn edition of Monster Punk Horizon, where I was gonna throw them out, but people were like, no, we want this weird misprinted edition. And so yeah, if you
might as well give them away then.
I'll also, since it is a weird edition, I will also send an ebook version along with it, so that you can download it and actually read that chapter and a few other goodies as well. So you'll be getting more than a book that I goofed, but I'll select a random bunch of winners from those. So you can win both books, so it doesn't. Entering for one doesn't necessarily negate the other. So, Joe just finished filling out the form, so thank you, Joe. Also, I don't actually have any on hand because I haven't ordered them yet, but if you really like the Blood Knight cover art, we have them available on desk mats at our store at store.holowriting.com. I've got the specific page and the links too. So if you want some sexy Emma or sexy Ixia on your desk or wherever else you want to put it, that will... Wait, you know something? One of my readers pointed out, I think this was Dave, the mats are actually big enough that he put it on his dog, like, as it's big enough to be a saddle or a dog blanket. Like, they're huge. You can warm up underneath them. And so, yeah, but we also had someone order 2 of the desk mats earlier today. So, and Froeby says they look so good. So yeah, they came out so well, you guys. We've had a lot of readers asking for all kinds of desk mats, and so, or like gaming mats and whatnot. And so that's my priority merch, and we're slowly getting those up there. Is there any other stuff? You can also, Blood Knight actually comes out on Thursday, this coming Thursday, so it's still up for pre-order. The paperback is actually already up. So if you want to order the paperback, that is there too. But I think that covers all of my little link sharing things. So, Jacob, we're going to start talking about how this project came to be. Because the thing is, for those who don't know, Edie Skye, to a certain extent, has always been at least a somewhat collaborative pen name, because Jacob wrote the outlines for Titan Mage, but then I did the principal writing and just went nuts with the characterization and world building. So Jacob did what percentage of the work would you say you did overall on Titan Mage?
Overall,
it was very significant structural work,
yeah,
even if I did the primary writing.
I want to say between the outlining and the editing and some of the chapters that I did write, because I did write a few of them.
Yeah, you wrote a few of those
scenes. There were a few places where I did do some heavy edits. Let's say 15 to 20%.
Yeah,
I think that's probably fair.
And the way we work is that I'm a much stronger writer than principal outliner. I'm improving at outlining, but Jacob is a project planner. He plans. That's his thing. He's an engineer. He got spreadsheets. He's like, and I am chaos. I mean, this is my room, you guys. It's a fire.
Oh, please don't show that.
Are you getting stressed? Yeah, it's if you look at Jacob's room, it is pretty much spotless with some nice, neat little stacks of books he's using for research.
I've got my gunpla that I can bring over here.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's got that decorated.
I got a little bit of clutter that I can put in my background.
I always find it really hilarious when we look at our two offices that a lot of people think you're the one with OCD, but I am the one with actual, literal, medically diagnosed OCD. It's just not the useful OCD. It's the chaos OCD.
So you wanted us to talk about how this project came to be?
Yeah. So the thing was, we sat down after Titan Mage and basically came up with a bunch of story concepts, and he put together, we talked about world building, we talked about outlines and plots, and Blood Knight was going to be a project that I got to eventually once I had finished Monster Girl Tamer. But then...
So I had so let me rewind a little bit more. Last year was very difficult for me from a health standpoint. I had a resurgence of very severe nerve pain to the point where it kind of melted my brain. And I had a 6-month period where I didn't get almost zero writing done during that 6-month period. And I was on an upswing coming out of that. And I had finished all of my open projects to Bain Books. So I didn't have a contract to work on. And so I'm like, I want to do something. So I'm like, okay, well, what should I work on? Should I had various things that I could work on. And like, well, I've already got this outline here. I'd already created, Blood Knight book 1's outline for Heather. And they're like, I'll start on this. And the other thing was that while I was kind of working through some of those, not so much the nerve pain issues, but kind of the fallout from that period, and kind of, pulling myself back together mentally to the point where I could, start producing material again. I had written a few short stories, and one that I wrote just almost just to do something completely different, not related to any work, is I wrote what eventually became the first 3 chapters of Blood Knight. So I already had like 9,000 words of this book, and I had an outline. I'm like, all right, Heather, I'm just going to start writing Blood Knight. And she's like, yeah, okay, go ahead. You do that. So I started writing, and a month later, I was finished with the book. And then I started, and at that point, I had basically over the course of writing the first book, I had, where I wanted the various arcs to go, and I was starting to kind of sketch out, how, the overall trajectory of the series, and the timing of the various beats. And so then I outlined book 2, and then I wrote book 2, and then I outlined book 3, and then I wrote book 3. And this is over the course of like 3.5 months that I wrote 3 books. So over the course of that period, I produced over 250,000 words. And
he's a machine, you guys.
And
maybe not Brandon Sanderson levels, but maybe close.
I don't know if I can. But it was certainly it felt really, really good to be, producing material after having that period of 6 months where I produced nothing. Now, granted, there were like medical conditions that I was dealing with, pain to the point that, my brain would fog over, which is a terrible thing to be feeling, like, where your brain is not, operating, fully because of how much, duress your body is under. And it was also just writing, urban fantasy harem.
Yeah.
Was just a lot of fun. And one of the comparisons that I'll throw out there is that, okay, I have a book coming out in October, Freelancers of Neptune.
Yes, I love this book.
So, okay, I need to get characters from point A to point B. Okay, well, where are, the planets or space stations or whatnot? Okay, well, what acceleration is the ship, under? I need to do kinematic equations, and okay, it isn't relevant to this particular series, but in other series, we could be, accelerating to a point where time dilation starts to take effect, and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Blood Knight. They got in a car. They drove to the place. They got out of the car.
It's so simple. It's so relaxing. Yeah. It was fun to watch you write the drafts of this series because you were so much more relaxed. Like you have fun on all the books that you write. But I can tell when you're having to do math to figure out how characters get to places across the universe. And I can also tell when you're just having fun being able to just throw random stuff out there like I do. And it's like, oh, we got more people in the chat. Hey, Richie, by the way, we are going to be on Richie's show tomorrow night. Is it called Chat and Stats right now, Richie? Feel free to put a link in the box or in the, what's the word? The chat. There we go. Oh my gosh, my brain. But yeah, we're going to be chatting Blood Knight on Chat and Stats. Used to be Stats on Stats. And so yeah, if you want to hear more about that. But have I acknowledged everybody in the comments? I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. Froeby says, but how fast were they going? How fast were they going when they traveled places, Jacob? Okay, Richie says it's Chat and Stats. And I think the Facebook group that it streams on is Lit RPG Legion. And please correct me in the chat if I have that wrong, Richie. But yeah. So I have the images up now so we can actually have proper looks at the covers. So Here is a nice, not weird look at the front cover. The artist we hired for this one, for this series, was Yanai. We still have Jackson Shota on the Titan Mage and related covers. But okay, yeah, Richie just put Lit RP Legion in the stats or in the chat. The words are so similar. And so yeah, Yanai, this is our first time working with Yanai, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
He understood the assignment,
yes,
and he executed it to perfection.
Oh yeah.
So given that we have this cover up, should we talk about the characters?
Yeah, I think that's. Let me show the second cover while we're at it, because we do have the second. Jacob plowed through these books so fast that we've already got Yanai working on the third cover, and so the second cover is already done. Book 2 is up for pre-order. Let's see here. Let me get the right screen up. So here's book 2. Allow, and then we're gonna. It keeps changing windows on me. So yeah, here is the cover for book 2. And this is a character that you meet, would you say, roughly halfway through Blood Knight. This is Ixia. You will notice she is very much a gamer girl. And that's very true of all of the characters. I mean, we got a whole cast of gamer girls here. So
why don't you put up the first cover,
okay.
and we'll talk. We'll start by talking about Emma.
Yes. All right. Let me.
We'll talk about the ladies, because this is a harem. The ladies are quite a feature.
All right.
And I think we've got a very interesting cast of characters for the.
Oh yeah, it's a really
the main character to interact with with eyebrows.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Big. You can't really see my eyebrows moving because I don't have much eyebrow control, but also my screen is really little. So yeah, one of my favorite things about writing harem, and I mean, of course, the spicy bits are fun, but I really, really like writing characters bouncing off of each other. Like, I love ensemble casts so much. And with the harem, I mean, you got a dude and however many women you assign to him, so it's automatically an ensemble cast, and their interactions, like, readers read for spice, obviously, but the character interactions are the things that make the readers want to come back, and that is easily my favorite part. So go for it.
Well, one of the things that we focused on much more heavily this time were kind of enriching the romantic threads.
Yeah. One of the greatest criticisms of Titan Mage was that a lot of readers who didn't like this element said that the spicy scenes felt transactional. It didn't feel like there was much of a romance there, and
which we did deliberately because we thought that's what readers wanted.
Oh yeah, because when we first got into harem, we happened upon a lot of the initial harem books that we read did not have a whole lot of romance in them, and we just thought it was a genre trope. And so we left it out intentionally, and it's actually it was one of my favorite criticisms of Titan Mage, because I wanted to write romance. I love writing characters, and I love writing characters in awkward situations, and romance is awkward, you guys. I mean, from first meetings and everything, I mean, there's stuff goes wrong over the course of two people getting to know each other. And so whenever readers started saying there's not enough romance, I don't like that it's just sex, I was like, yes,
we've got you covered.
We do.
Put it back. We
okay. All right.
We need to talk about the character.
Okay.
Are we now going to talk about the different ladies, or
yes,
did you want to cover something else?
Let's talk about the harem. I was just putting our beautiful faces back up there.
Okay.
Emma's face is beautiful too. Lots of Emma is beautiful. Let's be real. Go for it, Jacob. Tell us about Emma.
All right. So first, just a kind of high level view of Broken Fang of the various girls. So we have Emma. Emma is a succubus. She is basically the as Heather and I put it, she is the tutorial waifu.
She's also, just to be clear, because it comes up every single time I mention that she's a succubus online, she is 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% loyal to the main character and the main character only. So apparently there's been a bunch of succubus books where the succubus has been a little less loyal than readers would like in the harem genre, and so it always pops up. And so I just want to assure readers, yeah, especially after the Bexley controversy of Titan Mage too.
We're not going to get into.
We can talk about that later.
Talk about that later.
All the girls are 1,000% loyal to the main character and the main character only. I think in this book, each girl has a speech about why the main character, she only has eyes for the main character. We had fun with it, but anyway, go.
So we have Emma the succubus. There is Ixia doesn't join the harem officially until book 2, but she is a witch. We have Brooke, who is a werewolf. We have Sammy, who is a slime girl. And then there's Ashley, who is an angel. And people are saying hi to Dazzle.
Yeah. Dazzle.
All right. So
he's gone.
one of the fun things about having an urban fantasy series is that we get to include contemporary elements much more naturally, obviously because it's a contemporary setting. So, well, where did our design process go with that? It's like, well, let's make these ladies like the awesomest girlfriends that we possibly can. So both Heather and I are gamers, so everyone in the harem they're gamers too. In fact, you can see on the cover, it's not super obvious, but there's a
let me pull up the clean art. Keep talking.
There are RPG figures, a game master screen, rule books, stat sheets, and of course, and dice, and the fuel for the pen and paper RPG session, pizza, all swirling around in this scene. So not only is Emma a succubus with all the drives that implies, but she also loves to game.
Here we go. There's the clean version.
Now,
there's the Edie. It's the Edie Skye version. There we go.
The one with Edie Skye version.
Yeah, Yanai sometimes puts his when he does cover art for books, he'll sometimes put the author's name in the thing. So we have multiple different versions. Speaking of multiple different versions, if you would like to see a spicier version, we have a Patreon. So, and that's in the link somewhere. It's Edie Skye author on Patreon. But yes, there is alternate art.
So and also the different girls are different kinds of gamers. Emma is very much a sort of more casual gamer, and that if like something really competitive is going on, she actually just likes to sit back and watch the game. So
that's me. I pretty much.
So she's more of like she'll play if it's casual, but she'll also watch some of the others play more competitively.
I always bring a sketchbook when I play RPG campaigns. Like, a lot of people invite me to RPG games thinking I'm going to be as hilarious as I am at cons, and it's like, no, I play the dumbest possible character, and that basically just blows everything up in their wake so that I can draw while story is going on. I'm the laziest tabletop RPG gamer.
So we also have actually, Heather, of the ladies, which one is your favorite?
Oh, I like Brooke. She's a mess, and she's really rambunctious, and she's sweet, but she's also a werewolf. So she's got those like let's destroy everything impulses.
She also gets the zoomies.
Yeah, she gets the zoomies. But yeah, I like that she is that combination of sort of romantically, she's somewhat soft. But well, maybe not all aspects of the romance, because she has one of the more adventurous sex scenes. But but she is this interesting combination of softness and just complete violence. And I really like that combination. But Sammy was to me, because I've never
you're breaking up again.
I've never really been all that interested in what
you're breaking up again. Is something running in the background for you?
That probably I've got Photoshop and stuff open, so I will turn off some stuff. But we also had a question in the chat. Is there any way to pre-order or purchase signed copies? Will there be a hard copy or paperback? There will be. It will also be on store.holowriting.com. I just got to get it uploaded. And stuff. The store gets updated prints basically, and paperback up on the shop. And let's see here. Did I miss any other questions? A bunch of people saying hey to Dazzle. And yes, so Sammy.
All right, I'm losing you.
Okay, so to me because you took a relatable and really interesting, and I don't want to go too much into her character because it's actually like it's one of those parts of the story that I feel like is it's good to stumble upon, like to get her backstory, and so I don't want to go too deep.
Yeah, we're not going to dig into to Sammy's backstory.
Yeah, but explain your how you designed her character, because she is not a state.
All right, Heather, you really need to. You're lagging really heavily right now.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a cord.
All right, so hi.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so emergency technical hardwire connection is about to be made. Please stand by. We are having technical difficulties. Okay, so talking about some of the design work that went into some of the ladies. So Sammy. Sammy has probably the most intense and emotional backstory. On the surface, she comes across as, you know, a rather sassy character, at least initially. But what readers will experience as they you know get to know the character better is that a lot of that sass is sort of not exactly a mask, but sort of a defensive mechanism to kind of shield her and, well, to really shield off her own anxieties about herself. And part of that is because as a slime, she is the most monstrous of the monster girls. She is the most inhuman of the monster girls, and that is an aspect of herself that she struggles with. It was an interesting part of that character. It was a fun part of that character to explore and to kind of, you know, dig into, and was from some of our Patreons, it's been rewarding hearing some of them say that that they weren't expecting those kinds of feelings.
Yes.
to come up in.
I like making my readers feel things.
So yeah, I think readers will be experiencing some feelings when they get to the Sammy romance scenes, and I think. And while not all of that gets resolved in book one, there are some very, very significant payoffs. And well, Sammy is cover girl for book 3, and if
do you want to show the preview, or
yeah, let's show the preview.
Let me open it here. Did I download it? Yeah. So this is a very, very rough version.
Yeah, it's basically just to get the composition kind of nailed down, and we did ask for a few slight changes.
We're gonna make her a little more pantsless.
Yeah, it's like show off her legs more, which I'm sure you and I will be able to manage.
And okay, there we go. So here is the current version of Sammy.
Yeah,
we're taking her pants off because it kind of it makes her blend in with the bike too much with the dark.
Yeah, colors. It's just
not the fully off.
She's the dark colors blending a little bit too much, especially if you were to shrink the composition down to like, you know, postage stamp size on like Amazon or another online storefront. It's just like, okay, you can make out the top half of her, but everything else just sort of blends into the
Yeah.
background. So it's like, yeah, give her like some booty shorts or something.
She's one of the coolest characters though, because she's got the motorcycle, and there's nothing cooler than a hot girl standing next to a motorcycle. Let's be real, or on a motorcycle, or it's just it's one of those great sexy images, and so this is going to be a great cover too. But yeah, so we've got him working on that, and that pre-order will be up.
And because she is a slime, because she has the shape-shifting abilities, she is big into cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, art in general too, because didn't she want to be?
Yes, she's also the artist in the group. That's her major, and it's also both 2D and 3D artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge aspect of the novels, but it is part of her background.
Yeah, I think the first time Clark meets her, she's like splattered in paint and stuff from hobbies she's been doing and stuff. If I recall, I can't remember. It's been so long.
That's just sort of like the some of her. She either will wear black, or it'll just be like this riot of colors.
Yeah,
or it's sort of like her fashion style. It goes to either of those extremes.
Mm-hmm. No middle ground.
Yeah, but yeah, I see. Someone said Sammy in the.
Yep.
But yeah, Sammy's been a very cool character to write, and plays a very significant role in the conflict in book 3, which I will not spoil because there's just so much.
Yeah, it's a spoiler for me too, because I haven't read 2 and 3 yet. I'm trying to get Monster Girl Tamer done before I get to it. So we can talk about our other projects at the end of this once we're finished discussing Blood Knight, because projects.
And then why don't you bring up Ixia? We'll talk a little bit about her.
Yeah. Let's
see. It's actually good that we've got this artwork, and then we can talk about the different ladies.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about Brooke and Ashley a bit after Ixia.
Yeah, we don't have any official art for them yet.
Right. Yeah, but
so yeah, here is.
Okay, so Ixia is a witch. She is also an aspiring esports player. She is also a gun enthusiast.
Lots of sexy things all in one.
Yeah. So
is she the character that got you into guns? Doing research for her character.
Okay,
okay, we got a story.
All right, so one of the things that kind of came up organically was loading spells into bullets, and I was thinking that revolver. It would be interesting if the characters used revolvers, because revolvers have a certain cool factor just on their own. And it's like, okay, well, the interesting thing in the revolver is that the bullets are all separated. And so that separation, rather than them being all jammed into a magazine in a semi-automatic, that could then have a benefit of, hey, the spells aren't in close proximity to each other, and that you can load more powerful spells into the bullets. And so that was the basic concept. And it's like, okay, well, I can find reasons to start giving these characters revolvers. And Ixia is the character who helps the team arm up in book 2. And so they go gun shopping. And so for those scenes, I started researching revolvers. And I basically fell in love with revolvers. And
oh my gosh, yes.
And I went to Heather and I want a revolver.
Yeah, Jacob, I say that a while back, Jacob was talking about getting back into Warhammer, so he would have something to do while listening to audiobooks, as painting and whatnot. And then instead of Warhammer, you just shifted to guns. And I'm like, Jacob, you went from Warhammer to straight up war. But you've gotten me into it now, and it's been really fun, because see, I had tried getting into firearms years ago, and just I went out shooting with some friends, and all of them had semi-automatics, and I couldn't find one that there were so many little details I had to keep track of, having never shot anything before, that I just didn't find them all that fun to interact with. But revolvers, oh heck yeah, I'm having so much fun with revolvers. It's like you've got me wanting my own now.
You really like the Smith & Wesson 617.
I'm gonna take your word for it because I don't remember any of the numbers. Like I got an AK and an AR confused earlier today, guys.
Don't.
I'm so bad.
All right. So anyway, getting back on topic.
Yes.
We're having a lot of fun with the designs of the various ladies, and giving them appealing hobbies for them to interact with the main character and whatnot, and have some lighter, more comedic scenes in addition to the more plot driven, more intense scenes that also make up the novels. So yeah, of course, an aspiring esports player had to be in there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
and that's our witch. So that's why she's got the gamer set up and the
all her figurines and collectibles.
Yeah. I mean, they're all geeks to various degrees.
Oh yeah.
I think actually Brooke is probably the least geeky.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she participates in their campaigns, but
yeah, but she is a casual gamer.
She kind of strikes me as she's there for the gaming fun, but she's mostly the pizza source.
Well, and she's also like, if they're playing an RPG, she's the one who's like, instigating the shenanigans.
Yes.
And kind of annoying the game master.
Maybe that's one of the reasons I gravitate toward Brooke, because I'm absolutely the shenaniganizer.
But also given that Brooke is a werewolf, she is essentially from a Strike Force standpoint, she is the tank.
Mm-hmm.
She will literally, is capable of tanking hits from, magical bullets from revolvers, and then just going up to the fool and biting his head off.
Yep.
Which is a scene. Which she
does. I'm pretty sure she does it more than once too. It's like a tactic of hers.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, between the claws and the fangs, just brute strength, she uses all the weapons that she has available to her.
We got Royal Guard Publishing is doing the audiobooks for this series, and same narrators, Daryl Mayfield and Jess Trepanier, who did Titan Mage, are working on this. And Royal Guard keeps sending us either bloopers or finished samples, and I think they're finished. The most recent sample was the scene where Sammy bit off a character's head, and it's just the pacing. Gosh, it's hilarious.
Brooke bit off.
Yeah, for some reason I get those two confused whenever I'm talking about them. But yeah, oh my gosh, I have heard exactly 7 minutes of the audiobook and laughed through every single one of them. And there's also I've got to get the audio files for the next two, but there's also a really, really spectacular blooper on the Patreon that I posted, I want to say last week. And
are you going to post the other blooper on the Patreon?
Oh yeah, I will. I've just got to get the file.
Okay.
But yeah, another reason to join our Patreon,
because both of those bloopers are just laugh out loud hilarious.
Sometimes I just pull them up to listen to them, and the narrators have so much fun with it. You can absolutely tell that they're having the time of their lives when they narrate these things. And I often wonder, given how hard they laugh in the bloopers they send us, I wonder how many times they have to stop recording over the course of these books, because it's like
I hope a lot, because that means we're doing our jobs.
We love writing humor, and I like that we write it so well. It's really flattering to know that we write it so well that it sometimes makes it hard for the narrators to do their jobs.
I am fine with us creating this problem.
Yes. But we have a question from Joe. So by the end, how many members will be a part of the harem?
All right. I will. Let's see here. Emma, Brooke, Sammy, Ixia. Okay, I will confirm 5. anything beyond that is a potential spoiler. But at least 5.
Okay.
It might stop at 5. I'm not saying either way.
Comes down to the last 2 books.
But there is there's some stuff in book 4 and book 5 that
stuff gets
I just can't talk about yet. And if I were to give the final number, it would potentially give too much away. So as readers are going through those books that I haven't written yet, I would like to keep those elements as surprises.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of reading the books, if you would like to read them before they release, we do post early chapters to the Patreon, and so the books will be up on Patreon before they even hit Amazon. And it's one of our biggest perks. And right now we're actually posting both Blood Knight 1, the last bit of Blood Knight 1, and Monster Girl Tamer. And if you are jonesing for a little more Titan Mage, there is a rejected draft of the first few chapters of the next Titan Mage book that I'm currently posting up there, along with commentary about why those chapters were rejected. So if you want a little more Titan Mage in your life, that is posting as well. I think I've got 2 or 3 more chapters that are going up within the next week from that. And so there's plenty of stuff to read on the Patreon right now, if that is your jam.
Yeah, and then we're going to have, we'll be posting Blood Knight 2 fairly soon.
Well, what I have to do is, so I've got to finish Monster Girl Tamer, and that's going to be the focus of the Patreon until that is finished. And while that's posting, I'm going to be editing Blood Knight 2 and 3. And so once I have those edited, then they will begin posting after Blood Knight 1. And so our schedule, my goal with the Patreon was to have books fully finished on Patreon before releases, like way before Amazon releases. But we're coming out with so many books that that they get a little squished. Like, I actually had to change the Patreon releases because I realized that the original schedule for the last chapter of Blood Knight was posted to Patreon after the book was set to come out on Amazon. But yeah, my goal is to post everything on Patreon early, way before it goes out on Amazon. So it's actually
I don't think that our readers are objecting to the fact that we have a lot of material coming out this year and in the next.
Yeah.
So we do have one other lady to talk about. Ashley.
Oh yeah, Ashley, I forgot about her. So go for it. I'm going to put our face back up.
So Ashley is the angel in the team, and she when she was basically traveling from one plane to ours, she got walloped by a spell, and her halo's busted, and her memory isn't all that good right now. She also and okay, we're just going to admit this. That's basically a plot convenience so that we could introduce this character, at the beginning, other than, because otherwise she'd just be this walking spoiler.
Yeah.
And, the ways that we could handle that would be like, oh, we keep her off stage, or, we have her act mysterious and not, share the details with the other characters, which would just make her unlikable, or would run the risk of making the character unlikable. And so, no, we just walloped her in the head and gave her partial amnesia. Which is kind of what we did with Peth, but well.
You're going on an amnesia diet. Like right now, it's going to be a rule from your wife. No more amnesia characters, at least for a little bit. All right.
But the other thing is that because she is of celestial origin, she sometimes has trouble understanding people. And that aspect of her character has been one that's interesting to explore. She also has some really big reveals coming up that are going to right now, unless I have completely screwed up something, they will be landing basically near the end of book 4. That a lot of things that will be hinted at throughout the first 3 books and throughout the 4th book will then is like, oh, here's what all those hints meant. But all that will land at the end of book 4.
Have we talked about the magic system yet?
We have not talked.
Let's talk about the magic system, unless you have other things to add about the girls.
No, we've talked about the ladies, and we don't have any open questions right now. So
yeah, and feel free to put questions in the chat. We will see them and answer them. So I really like the magic system you came up with, because it fits, like, it's obviously very tabletop RPG inspired, but it's also given I want to say Locke because his name ends with an E like Clark does, but since Clark's Blood Knight heritage, magic is intrinsic. Like the magic system is intrinsic to the entire novel. It's very important. So how'd you design it? What'd you come up with? Like what made you?
So there were what we have right now was basically the second draft of the magic system. I had an initial take on it that was in the very early, the very early short story that I wrote, that I then modified to form the first 3 chapters of book 1. And over the course of expanding that into a full outline and then a book, I wasn't happy with the and part of it was that I was just like shooting from the hip, as I was working on this short story. It's like because I didn't expect to be like writing a 5-book series based off of that short story.
Yeah, but it ended up being really popular with patrons. So.
I thought it was just being a one and done, and and then it got we posted it, and there was a very, very positive reaction, and then I had the opening, and then and now I'm 3 books into a 5-book series.
Yep.
So one aspect that came to mind as was kind of doing the detailed design for book 1 was that kind of having vampires as the main antagonists, and then having essentially an anti-vampire, particle and antiparticle, matter and antimatter kind of a thing, and something that could use a vampire's advantages against him. And I came up with the idea of, okay, well, you have the vampire, you have the drawing of blood and gaining power through the blood, and so I'm like, okay, well, blood, and then that expanded into the concept of the Blood Knight, and acquiring power consensually rather than taking the power as a vampire does. And that's the
consensual having multiple conversations.
Well, yeah, there's that too, but there's complexities about how the magic is all twisted up with that, which anyway, but the idea that, okay, a vampire is taking this power from another individual, whereas a Blood Knight through through the magic is receiving the power willingly. And so that's that aspect helped crystallize how the the Blood Knight works, and how Clark is essentially able to gain abilities and magical spells from his allies, from his harem, his tactical harem.
Yes.
And it's very much a tactical harem. They go into battle together.
Thing in Monster Girl Tamer, which we can talk about. We're getting close to 9 o'clock, so we can. I mean, we don't necessarily have to talk. We can talk about just random little things now, because we've actually covered most of Blood Knight. But was there anything else you wanted to add about Blood Knight before we get into our random? What are we talking about stuff?
I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah.
We
can talk about what's coming up, because we got a ton.
I mean, we've just to talk a little bit more about the magic system.
Oh yeah, go for
it. We didn't go into, this series is not a stats series.
Mm-hmm. There's a heavy gaming element, but there's no stat blocks.
We're I mean, we've got like named magical spells that are being cast, and they have predictable effects. And but yeah, I mean, we certainly could have gone that route, but it just didn't really feel right for the vibe that we went with Blood Knight, being that, this is supposed to be kind of like a glimpse behind the curtain of our real world, rather than and introducing gamification elements to that felt like it didn't feel like a good fit. I certainly love chunky stats as much as the next reader, but
you're doing that for Monster Girl Tamer.
I am
a stat disaster.
but yeah, Froby makes a good point here. Yes, you do see progression, and there's quite a bit of progression throughout the series. And well, it kind of goes back to the initial premise that these are 5.
Because you were lagging for me, but sometimes a lag happens for me that doesn't happen for other people. So people in the comments, let me know when there's a lag.
All right. So the going back to the initial premise of 5 college students that take down the vampires who secretly control the world. There has to be power progression to get to the point where they can actually achieve that goal. And all that is mapped out. That progression, where there, it may at first look like a fairly shallow curve, but trust me, certain elements are being moved into position, and there will be payoffs. There is a plan. There is a
you got a pretty epic plan for the end.
Yes, it's going to get very, very epic near the end.
Okay. So, we got John in the comments. Hey, John. I see John on Facebook all the time. So now and Howard. Yes, you commented earlier, Howard, and I forgot what you said. Where did it go? You had a question or a comment or something. Was it that you were into Titan Mage 3 and loving it? Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. 3 is my favorite book, even though I think it's the most controversial one, in as much as controversy can be applied to this series. But yeah. So I think we have mostly covered all the good stuff about Blood Knight Vampire Slayer.
Yeah,
so,
unless we, I don't see any questions, so I think. We're lagging again.
Huh?
You're lagging.
No, let's see.
You were lagging for me. I don't know if I was lagging too.
No one in the comments is mentioning lag, so I think it might just be us, because sometimes that happens. So guys, let me know if we're lagging, and we can, if you missed something, let us know what you missed so we can repeat it. But anyway, so I had posted a schedule of releases a few weeks ago, and then when we actually got into enacting that schedule, both of us like nearly had a panic attack because it was so much work. And one thing we were initially going to release 2 books or a book every 2 months this year, because we just have so much coming out between Blood Knight and Monster Girl Tamer. And then we actually got into the process, and I realized that if we were to, since I do all of our layout and our marketing, and I do everything short of the covers, short of the cover art, it was basically going to give me a month to write and then a month to handle all of that. And when we started this year, I had really hoped to have at least 2 months to plow through any writing project I was working on. So after I had a complete OCD knot about it and cried, we decided to change our schedule. So the current schedule, it really, for people who are buying on Amazon, the schedule actually hasn't changed all that much, except you get 1 less book this year.
No change.
But Blood Knight comes out next week. Monster Girl Tamer, which we can talk about in a little bit, comes out in May. Blood Knight 2 comes out in July. And then Blood Knight 3, I believe, is going, let's see, July, August, September, is going to come out in October. And then the Blood Knight will be finished next year. And Monster Girl Tamer will then be continued after we finish Blood Knight, because we just wanted to, we were initially going to stagger them like Blood Knight, Monster Girl, Blood Knight, Monster Girl. But in terms of the way my brain is organized, it just, it works better to get Blood Knight all published at once and then focus on Monster Girl. We are also, and Monster Girl Tamer, I had, when I was writing Titan Mage, I had a lot of people request a Monster Girl story. And the Titan Mage universe, the way we set it up, it wasn't like I could have bent some rules and made Monster Girls, but Titan Mage is pretty much inhabited by humans only, and the occasionally cosmetically modified person, like, because you've got Sloane, who's a cat girl,
and the dragons,
yeah. But there wasn't really room for a true Monster Girl style story in Titan Mage. However, under my H.P. Holo pen name, I had a series called Monster Punk Horizon, which was kind of written as a love letter to Pokemon, Digimon, Monster Hunter, all kinds of monster hunting and befriending stories. And before I even started the Edie Skye pen name, I had actually planned to do a harem parody novel. It was intended to be more of a parody of anime style harem. But I already had the concepts down for a Monster Girl novel. And then Titan Mage happened. People started requesting Monster Girls, and I was like, you know what? I've already got a loose novel planned in this other universe. Why not just make it a whole series? And so that's why.
So then I outlined 3 books for you.
Yeah, and then you outlined 3 books for me, and that one has the potential to go longer. My phone is making noises. Okay, but yeah, so that happened. But one thing I'm finding as I write Monster Girl Tamer, like, I'm having a whole lot of fun on it, but I keep wanting to write Titan Mage, as evidenced. Well, Jacob has gotten some texts from me while I'm out writing at the coffee shop, and there are certain things in the outlines. Giant mechs were not in the outlines.
No, they weren't.
But
it's a Monster Girl series.
Jacob, I need, the Goblin Girl has a mech now. I need help naming this mech, because otherwise I'm going to take 45 minutes on it. And so the Goblin Girl, it's not a true mech. She has wood manipulating powers. And basically she can manipulate plants and sort of builds herself a plant mech. And then there comes a part where she's battling another Monster Girl. And I was like, you know what, this one character, she has a giant wood mech that she can fight with, and other Monster Girl is going to be going up against a mech, but she also has some manipulating powers. She can manipulate earth, so it's like, you know what, heck it, I'm going to give the I'm going to give the Oni girl a mech too, and there's going to be a monster girl mech battle. And so Jacob comes to me and he's like, are all the monster girls going to have mechs? Do we need to adjust the story for this? And I don't think they are, but it's certainly, I keep wanting to write mechs. And so one thing we've done is,
this is escalating faster than I had planned it.
we have started, we started outlining, some more. I had always planned to do more Titan Mage, and so here's what's happening after Monster Girl Tamer comes out. And these will be next year, but we are currently planning to extend Locke's story, and so we are outlining that. There is going to be a slice of life series that happens alongside Locke's story called Titan Mage of the Library, where Locke hires a librarian to take care of his the library branch of his arcane index. And spoiler alert, sorry. But ignore that if you haven't finished it. Sorry. I forget that there are people who are still reading through the story, even though I've been reminded within the past hour that there are still people reading the story. Anyway, so there's a relaxing slice of life story set inside a library, because I have my job prior to doing writing full time was working in a library, so it's like I can draw on all those fun things. And there is another series that we're working on that follows the Indigo Griffin crew. They were not originally part of the Titan Mage outlines, but they kind of worked themselves in. Speaking of which, though, next week I'm actually going to be doing another video with a bunch of authors. A few weeks ago, an anthology called Giant Freaking Robots came out. There is a Titan Mage story in that anthology that follows Ryan and Sevis, whom you guys you first meet in Titan Mage 2. But as for those who haven't finished Titan Mage, the Indigo Griffin crew becomes a lot more significant as that goes on, as the series goes on. And so Ryan and Sevis have a story in that, and whenever Jacob starts talking again, I can share a link to that anthology. But we're going to be discussing that with some of the authors next week. So if you want some more Titan Mage, there's that. And
where are you going to be discussing that?
Here on the yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so if you follow us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, it'll be same locations. What else? Well, we had a question. Where'd it go?
We did have a question.
What will be the focus for the second Blood Knight arc? That's a Jacob question.
Oh.
It's going to be a while before it happens, because
okay. So
Jacob has ideas.
So just to clarify where my schedule is, I'm going to finish Blood Knight 4 and Blood Knight 5. I'm gonna those are my next two projects, and I expect to be done with that sometime Q3 of this year. So should be wrapping that up, I don't know, maybe around August. After that, I am diving headfirst into book one of the Edward Saganami trilogy that David Weber and I are working on in his Honorverse. So it's going to be all Honorverse all the time for at least 3 books.
So we're not going to see any more Blood Knight until you have another gap in your traditional publishing schedule, most likely, right?
Yeah, I mean,
unless I write something.
I mean, there's the possibility that I could like take a break and write, something else in between those projects, but pardon me. But on the order of, having enough time to write, I don't know, let's just call it a 3 to 5 book series.
Mm-hmm.
That's just probably not in the cards for the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 years.
We have a question. Is David Weber? Bolo David Weber? Yes, that David Weber. So this won't be your first collaboration with David Weber. No. For those who are fairly new to us, Jacob and David have written how many books together at this point?
4 have been published. Number 5 comes out in June.
I will pull up that too while you talk. But yeah, they work together on the Gordian Division series, which starts with the Gordian Protocol. So yeah, there's lots of David Weber and Jacob Holo stuff, and several short stories in that universe on the Bane website. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So and that's have we done a video about how you started collaborating with David Weber? Because that thing is nuts. That's like a whole video. It was completely. It's John says, I'm sorry, I just had a nerdgasm. Yeah, it's still kind of, we have known David for
10 years.
10 years at this point, and it's still
just about 10 years.
Yeah,
it's maybe 9.5
for us too. We're gonna have to do a video about how you met David if we haven't already. I can't remember what we've done because it was crazy. But yeah, so I'm gonna look up a link to the Gordian Division series. Did I interrupt you? Did you finish your stuff?
Well, yeah. I should try to at least try to address Froby's question here. If you could just pop it back.
Sorry,
up
I missed it. My thing had to reload, so I actually don't remember.
Okay. Well, I'll just. I see the question in the chat. So
okay.
And I remember it anyway.
Okay, you have to remember than me.
So there's. Where things end with book 5, there won't be like a requirement for more stories. The arc, that we're setting out to complete, starting in book 1, it ends at book 5. But there, Heather and I were authors. We can't help but leave ourselves just a few little dangling threads here and there. So is there the potential for a second Blood Knight arc? Yes. Is it a guarantee? No. And I hate to approach this from a rather kind of clinical standpoint, but it also depends on how well the series does, versus how well other stuff that we're working on does. If Blood Knight does well, then yeah, you're gonna see some.
About it.
It's pretty much guaranteed that we'll move forward. And develop a second arc, because there's definitely openings for stories even after.
Oh yeah.
The
one of the things we
climax
do
of book 5
when we write series these days is we try to leave room for the worlds to expand, because honestly, when we haven't, the thing is. Titan Mage is a world that we had only expected to write one series, because I frequently say I wrote it as a joke, and we had kind of we were gonna put it out there and just see how it did, and didn't expect other stuff to happen, and we were just kind of lucky that Titan Mage ended up having multiple world possibilities, shall we say, and when I designed Monster Punk Horizon. I get Monster Punk Horizon and Monster Girl Tamer mixed up all the time. So if you say any combination of those words together, you asked me to clarify what series I'm talking about if it's not clear. But it's generally, we find it a good idea to design worlds so that they can be expanded if readers want more in those worlds. And so it's something we're cognizant of as we write. So you'll see, like over the course of Titan Mage, we had planned it to be one series initially, but I began to put, the Indigo Griffin crew decided they wanted to be in it, so I decided to put little nuggets in there. And there's sometimes
I remember reading through the first draft of Titan Mage Ruin, and it was so clear to me that you had this, your brain had kind of, to a certain degree, chased a squirrel, but it was a very fruitful.
It was a good squirrel.
But like in the initial version, it was like 8,000 words of introducing this new cast of characters in like the last fifth of the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we need to pare this down and shift some of this later.
I had fun writing it.
These are great characters, but
did I post what we cut to the Patreon? I can't remember.
No, you ended up shifting stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what I did.
It wasn't like the scene verbatim, but the material that was in there got shifted to like book 3.
Yeah, I have a lot of characters that write themselves and do what they want, and the entire Indigo Griffin crew is they're those sorts of characters. Sevis especially, like he's a very minor character in Titan Mage, but in the back of my head, he is one of the most aggressive.
He demands to be written.
He does, and he's so fun too. It's one of the reasons why I've been invited to several anthologies, and it's one of the reasons why the short stories I'm submitting to those are Ryan and Sevis stories, and it's partly to prepare for writing Titan Mage Series 2, which is the Indigo Griffin brand. I need to come up with a better way of talking about these series, in terms of their names and where they are in the chronology. But they're 2 characters that are really fun to write together. And just before I forget, for those who were curious about Jacob and David's collaborations, I put a link to the Gordian Protocol, which is the first Gordian Division novel, in the chat. And then also, excuse me, they've got one coming up in June. Thermopylae Protocol.
I think it's June.
It's June. So
we have so many releases, it is hard to keep track.
Yeah.
But I believe the Thermopylae Protocol comes out in June.
Between anthologies and your Bane releases and the Edie Skye releases, I think we're going to reach 10 books by the end of this year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and some of them, like, I don't have to put all that much effort into the anthologies other than doing an occasional marketing thing and writing the stories for it. But yeah, we're going to have 10 books out this year, and I'm already tired. But yeah, Thermopylae Protocol is coming out in June. That is one where there are 2 branches to the Gordian Protocol universe. And the second branch is more of a police procedural time travel and starts with the Janus file. Thermopylae is one that you kind of have to have read both branches for it to make complete sense. The others are they can function as standalones. But Thermopylae is definitely a reward for people who have stuck with the series. It's book 6 in the series. So
hold on. While we're talking about different releases, let me see if I can get
I can continue talking while you're looking stuff up if you want. So in terms of other stuff coming up. We can talk about cons. So we got cons coming up. So first weekend in April, we are going to be at SC Comic Con. It's basically a big vendor's room in Greenville, South Carolina, and we will be there both days, just hanging out at our table. So if you are in that area, come hang out. We are going to be at Fantasy in Raleigh, Durham, 2 weeks after that, on panels and stuff. Oh, is it Fantasy? Okay, let's see. I am letting it in. So there we go. Cover reveal. Keep talking, Jacob.
Okay, so this is Freelancers of Neptune. This is my traditionally published release coming out in October. And I was it's a scrappy crew on a scrappy ship having adventures in a solar system that isn't quite the same as it used to be.
You described it as what Firefly meets Ringworld, kind of. Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I've got this one character, and she's this really attractive ex-space pirate cat girl.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if she's going to end up on the cover.
Yep.
And then I realized, and then I remembered who my publisher was, and like, of course,
they understood
going to put
the assignment. Well, this is another definite, understood the assignment cover.
So yeah.
But yeah, and you said you weren't influenced by Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star when you wrote this, but whenever I read it, that's totally what I imagined. Like it reads like a fun, scrappy crew anime. So if you were a fan of either of those, absolutely pick it up. I think this is my favorite book of yours. And it's not that I don't enjoy your other books, obviously, but this one is right up my alley. I love scrappy crews. I love weird ass worlds, and this is a future where the cover says the solar system ain't what it used to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got Saturn doesn't have any rings anymore. Mercury is a gas giant, and there's a perfectly good hard science reason for that.
Well, yeah, that's the cool thing about the series.
Earth is just a unit of measure. They're not even sure if the planet is still there. And yeah, of course, I'm going to throw in sexy cat girls and
absolutely.
And various other things.
It's got sassy robots too. Ico's my favorite, but it's also hard sci-fi. Like, it's fun to read hard sci-fi, but you've told me that despite how absurd it can be, most
as far as I know, I do not break the laws of physics anywhere in the book.
But it reads
as far as I know.
It's hard sci-fi that reads like fun science fantasy, which is right up my alley because I don't love numbers as much as you do, but I do love action and explosions. And this is I love it so much.
So yeah, I guess we could say this is like, it's not a harem novel. It's very much not a harem novel.
It's not a harem novel, but it's got hot cat girls in it. So
this is true. It does.
Sloane, and she was a space pirate at one point too. I mean, it's got everything. It's got all the seasonings.
All right, what else do we have to talk about?
Is that up for pre-order yet? Because I can look up that.
No, I don't think it's gotten posted yet.
Okay. So I'll share that whenever it goes up.
I just got the revised cover this week.
Yeah. So. Okay. So I guess we're getting down to cons. We're going to be at Fantasy. There is a panel at Fantasy. I did not submit it. Someone decided that I was going to lead this panel. It is H.P. Holo's Not Safe for Work Raunchy Romance panel. So come to Fantasy just for that. It's going to be fun. I already have a lot of shenaniganizers signing up to be on it. But yeah, we got the panel list, and I was like, Jacob, I didn't submit this. Con organizers are just this is what people associate me with now. So that's going to be Fantasy is always fun. Like, seriously, you guys, if you are really into fun sci-fi and fantasy, and it's a great little con, and it's one that we particularly like because we're on panels and stuff, but also it's got a really nice lobby and bar area, and we just go hang out and chat with readers when we're not doing panels. It's an excellent just chill hangout con. And we got a pun here. John says, so you're saying the cat girl is not just eye candy? She's definitely eye candy-ish, but she's got her own interesting plot too.
Well, if you were to think of the crew of this ship as a cast of if they had like D&D style stats, the cat girl, her name is Vesini. She would have 18 to 20 dexterity.
Oh yeah.
She's a very good shot, and she's a very good pilot.
Con-wise, we're also going to be at Liberty Con in Chattanooga in June, and also I think the website has not been updated yet. Jacob and I are both going to be guests of honor at PCon in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. And so that'll be the furthest west that we've gone. And that's another small con, good hangout con. So, and also for guests of honor, that's cool. And we'll be out in Texas for the first time in September. I think it's the weekend of September 20th. So I will share that on all of our sites once they get their website and whatnot updated. It's very, very recent announcement. I guess we could do our little general wrap up. I think we've covered most of our book news. What you reading, Jacob?
Well, I have been going through the Omniverse audiobooks, kind of refreshing my memory of some of them. It started with On Basilisk Station, and so I'm about halfway through the second one.
I thought we finished on. Oh yeah, we did finish on Basilisk.
No, about halfway through the Honor of the Queen, and Yeah, I mean, so not really reading anything. I am giving my after like my writing blitz over the past 3 months. I'm taking a little bit of a break over March, so I'm primarily doing editing and outlining before I jump back into book 4. So yeah, I've been playing the new Final Fantasy game.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep hearing the chocobos, and I think it's Dazzle because he has such a high pitched meow. Every time I hear him, I just want to turn around and yell, like, "What are you doing, man?" He is asleep on the books right now. By the way, he's being a very good boy. So, in terms of what I'm reading, were you done about reading? So, I am working on Slice of Life by Solomon Ignis. It's a pizza parlor harem. The pizza is an aphrodisiac, and there's monster girls. It's my favorite thing. The chapter titles. I was sold on the chapter titles alone. So if you want a fun, just zany, sexy harem, Slice of Life is it. I've also been working on. Let's see. I'm pulling up all my Kindle books. I've been reading mostly on my Kindle these days. I just finished The Moon and the Desert by Rob Hampson, which is basically the $6 Million Man, written by someone who actually has neuroscience background.
Written by an actual neuroscientist.
Written by a neuroscientist who was inspired by the $6 Million Man to go into a field that at that time did not exist. So the field kind of grew up as he progressed through it, and it's awesome. If you like, it's hard sci-fi, but it's also easy to read. I've been reading Threading the Needle by Mona Lisa Foster, which is let me pull up. Can I get the cover? Where'd it go? Which is by it's basically a space western. And I interviewed her a while back on my show too. And I think those are the books that I'm reading right now. We went over what you're playing. So what are your thoughts on the latest Final Fantasy?
I like it. I like it more than I liked the remake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not a huge fan of the combat system. I do. So one of the things that they introduce in this one is materia that you can give the characters that you're not controlling that will automate certain functions. And I find that when I'm doing that, I'm enjoying the combat system a lot more because it was just, I don't know, there was just a certain, the combat system felt clunky to me. And just certain aspects of it didn't feel satisfying. And I'm enjoying it more this time around with Rebirth. Overall, the presentation, the graphics, the music, there's more humor in this one, which there's a bit more camp, which I appreciate because there are some pretty silly aspects.
You routinely call me into, like, you tell me it's not a ridiculous game, but then you call me into the room to watch these absolutely ridiculous scenes, and it's like you're making me want to play it, Jacob. But you're
also
Final Fantasy VII is for whatever reason one that I don't really have a nostalgic attachment to. I came into the Final Fantasy series like around Final Fantasy 12, and so 12 and after are the ones that I have knowledge of. Well, 10, because I played a little bit of 10 too, but yeah, I don't
10
have
also, not 10 too.
10. Well, I played both of them.
Oh, you played 10 too as well?
I started both of them. I am notorious for not actually finishing games because I have the attention span of a dead goldfish. So, but we got a new person in the chat. Hey, Brandon. But I have been playing while Jacob is listening to audiobooks when we go to sleep. I have been playing Xenoblade Chronicles. What's the name for the? It's not remastered.
The definitive edition.
Definitive edition, and that's I'm not even that far into it, but it's already one of my favorite games. And John says I like Final Fantasy 14.
One of the things that I think we're going to have a podcast where we talk about the Xeno series.
Let me find
But
I don't even know where my calendar is. I think it's going to be on the 24th on Sunday at the end of this month. So it's going to be on the same channel too.
One of the really interesting things that they've done is that they did some very light retconning of the first Xenoblade game. It's very, very, very light touch. And I think given what we've seen in Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 3, and then what is it? Is it Future Redeemed? It's the DLC for Xenoblade 3.
It's Future something.
It looks like their long game during that they've decided to do sometime during the development of Xenoblade 2, the long game was to merge back in the Xenoblade and Xenosaga series into one whole.
For context, you guys, we're gonna be doing a video about this on Sunday the 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every single Nintendo system we own, we bought solely so Jacob could play one of the Xeno games, like Xenosaga, well, the ones that led to it were Xenosaga,
Xenoblade.
And Xenoblade
X.
When Xenoblade started, that's what I was building to. When Xenoblade started releasing, Jacob is such a huge Monolith fan that he was like, you know what, we're getting a system just for this game alone. And honestly, the games are so huge that they merit the purchase of an entire game system just to play them. Because you have 400 hours in the first game alone. And that's the original.
I'm not confessing to anything.
It's you had well the thing about it is I'm gonna stop because we're gonna be doing a whole video.
We're off topic.
Yeah,
we should be wrapping up.
We're wrapping up. So my last question, what you been watching? We're still doing Babylon 5, and there has not been another Zathras yet, and I'm quite disappointed.
Oh, it's coming. He's in a two-parter that's coming up in season 3 here.
And I've only seen one Zathras. Like the little animated movie led me to expect more, and I have to say I love Babylon 5, but I want more Zathras. We're gonna have to do a video about Babylon 5 too once we finish it, because it's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. This is my first time watching it, but we also what else have we been watching? We went to see the new Dune movie. So I am
just about perfect.
Yeah, Jacob is a big Dune fan. Just about perfect. And I mainly just went to see the sandworms destroy stuff because I freaking love the sandworms. Just big old monster worms that and their poop makes magic spice that allows people.
It's not their poop.
Well, you know what I mean. I know it's more complicated than that because it's Dune, but it's like sandworms. I love them, but yeah, it's
that is not how the spice melange gets produced.
Jacob, it's been the last time I actually read Dune. It was like 20 years ago when I was a pretentious college student. So I was mainly just reading it to look smart in a college lobby. I need to actually pick it up though, because you showed me that one video last night of just the most insane lines from the series as a whole, and I was like, oh hell yeah. The fastest way to get me to read something is tell me how dumb it is or how absurd it gets. And all it took was like a 5-minute video of the stupidest lines in Dune. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to read all 6 books just to read these crazy lines. Hi Mikey, we got another new person. Yay! But yeah, we should do a Dune episode at one point too, because like you actually come to it from a fan perspective, and I enjoy it, but mostly I enjoy heckling you about it. And that has the potential to be fun. I remember our early dating, you made me watch, like part of our dating process was watching the David Lynch Dune and then every single freaking Dune miniseries. And there came a certain point where I didn't have enough context. So I was mostly just watching it to be polite and flirt. And I've developed more appreciation for it now that the new movies have come out. But oh my gosh, yes, it's spectacularly filmed. There were some changes made, as I do not remember enough of the first book to know to remember specifically what changes were made. Yeah. Apparently, for some of the fans, it's disastrous and ruins the whole movie. But in terms of viewing it as its own thing, it's spectacularly filmed. And the thing is, I enjoy all brands of sci-fi, but a lot of sci-fi that comes out these days is mostly action adventure with a science with a sci-fi facade. And I really like that we're finally getting a genuine grand scope sci-fi movie. And it makes me feel like a sense of wonder. And that's something I really love about sci-fi that I honestly don't get from a lot of sci-fi that comes out. And Brandon says best date ever, David Lynch Dune. Yeah. I love the David Lynch Dune, like unabashedly. It's just so weird that even without the context of the novel, it's one of my favorite things ever. But let's see here. Are we watching? Let's see. Lost Light. Hey, Lost Light. I haven't seen you here before, so welcome. I wish I could watch Babylon 5 again for the first time. Oh, heck yeah. If I ever, like, for some reason, get amnesia, that's one of the things I'm watching again. I have a list of amnesia things that I want to watch for the first time.
You literally have an amnesia list?
Yeah, I want to watch the first season of Digimon again. Like, depending upon how bad my amnesia is, because watching it as an adult with adult context, it's kind of underwhelming. But I remember, like, episode 7, I think, when Patamon transforms into Angemon for the first time, it blew my little 12-year-old brain. Like, it's the biggest glow up in anime. And then we watched it when I tried to get you into it 5 years ago, and we got 7 episodes in, and it happened, and I was like, I promise, Jacob, it was a lot more epic when you waited a week between episodes and you were 12. but yeah, I totally have an amnesia list. I think Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is up there too. We should do a video about Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And Digimon for that.
It is probably it is very close to a structurally perfect movie.
Yes. We absolutely have to. Okay, adding it to the list. We're doing Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We should probably do Digimon too with all the cards. Oh man, we're getting so many ideas just from the last few minutes alone. Oh my gosh, Meet the Robinsons, Mikey. Yes, Meet the Robinsons was one of my favorites. That's one of my comfort movies. I love Meet the Robinsons so much. I just want to take that entire movie and just give it a big hug. But oh man, it's 9:37. So we've been going.
Yes, we've been wrapping up for 37 minutes.
I am from the South, and that is what we do down here. So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and man, sticking with us for over an hour and a half. It's a good crowd. You are dedicated, and we love you. But yeah, Blood Knight's coming out next Thursday, and we have I'm not sure when the audiobook's coming out, but it will be soon because they sounded based on the samples we've been getting. They're hold on, I'm getting distracted by the comments.
Yeah, they're already working on. They're very.
I still hope you have a girl yelling, "We have worm sign" during a spicy scene. For context, I made a joke online about having a worm girl in Monster Girl Tamer because you wrote desert worms into book 3 of Monster Girl Tamer, and it's like I know, yeah. My phone my family is talking about vacation, and my ringtone is the Pokemon catch sound, so I keep getting distracted by it. But yeah, I made a joke about there being a monster worm girl, and now I kind of, in the back of my head, actually have a lore for it. So we might actually be getting a monster girl sandworm, my version of it, with all sorts of fun references. But that'll be a few books from now. I can already see you face palming, Jacob. But anyway, so yeah, all the relevant links are in the event description and in the comments. Thank you all for joining us, and please buy our books. The end. So bye, everybody, and thank you for joining us.